Narco politics, globalist puppeteers, and the coming American collapse. Why the U.S. must declare war on the cartels. Now the time has come for the United States to shed its illusions. The Mexican drug cartels are not merely criminal organizations. They are paramilitary forces, proxy powers, and economic engines of globalist strategy. They control vast swaths of Mexican territory and wield growing influence inside U.S. borders. But even more alarming, they have financial and political control over both the Mexican and American governments. This is not a matter of bad policy or porous borders. This is a coordinated hybrid war, engineered by transnational elites whose goal is simple: to destabilize, fragment, and ultimately conquer the United States from within. Mexican presidents. Cartel-selected puppets. Let's begin. With Mexico. From Carlos Salinas de Gortari through AMLO, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, Mexican presidents have not been elected by the people, but selected by the cartels. These narco regimes have deep financial ties with the Sinaloa cartel, CJNG, and others who in return receive protection, political immunity, and freedom to operate as a shadow state. This is not speculation. It is the known reality behind the smiling faces of Mexican diplomacy. The U.S. is no better. Both parties on the narco payroll, but the infection doesn't stop at the border. The Mexican cartels have infiltrated and financed U.S. elections for both Democrats and Republicans. Through a web of offshore accounts, shell companies, PACs, and laundering operations, cartel money pours into congressional campaigns, Senate races, and even presidential campaigns. This is why there is no unified action, no border security, no will to designate the cartels as terrorist organizations. Washington is owned, and the owners are not American. The CIA, DEA, and the American deep state's dirty hand for decades. The CIA and DEA have worked in partnership with drug cartels, using their trafficking routes to fund black operations and covert wars. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's an open secret that dates back to operations like Iran-Contra. Today, this dark alliance continues, with U.S. intelligence services using cartel money to fund off-the-books wars, regime changes, and domestic surveillance programs. The cartels, in return, are granted selective protection and a blind eye from the very institutions meant to stop them. Globalist architects, Rothschilds, City of London, Soros. Who benefits from this chaos? The same transnational elite who benefit from every war, crisis, and collapse. The City of London financial cabal, the Rothschild dynasty, and their enablers, figures like George Soros, whose open border policies weaken national sovereignty, are pulling the strings. The goal is not just cheap labor or more drug profits. The goal is to dismantle the United States as a sovereign power and replace it with a fractured, demoralized, and controllable population, one desperate for digital currency, state surveillance, and elite management. This is the same class that engineered the Ukraine war, not to help the Ukrainian people, but to launder billions through arms deals, NGOs, and reconstruction contracts. The same pattern is at play with the Mexican takeover of California, Texas, and the broader American Southwest. This is not incompetence. It is design. America is at war. Whether it admits it or not, the southern border crisis is not a policy error by the Democrats. It is a deliberate invasion, orchestrated by cartel armies and sanctioned by a compromised U.S. establishment. What's happening in California and Texas is a territorial assault designed to overrun American identity, economics, and security. And if America refuses to recognize this as war, it will collapse into civil war, triggered by economic chaos, cultural fragmentation, and the total loss of institutional legitimacy. The final warning: war or collapse. The United States must act now or it will disintegrate. It must designate the Mexican cartels as terrorist organizations, launch military operations against cartel leadership and infrastructure inside Mexico, investigate and purge cartel-linked corruption inside the CIA, DEA, and Congress, cut the financial, umbilical cord between the cartels and U.S. political campaigns, Reclaim control of the southern border, by force if necessary. If this does not happen, the outcome is clear. An American civil war, accelerated by hyperinflation, institutional betrayal and internal sabotage. The cartels will not just own parts of Mexico, they will own parts of America, and the people abandoned by both parties will take justice into their own hands. This is not a political debate. This is a survival crisis. War has already been declared, just not by us. But if America wants to survive, it must declare it back.